Welcome one and all to this 55th episode of D&D with me, Mike.
And me, Zoe.
And today we are going to be working on this new enemy of ours, which is supposed to be a god, who can only be attacked from the back. Let's see the situation here. So, right here, you've got this open area with the bombs, and you traverse it, and...
It's not actually supposed to have bombs.
Well, these are supposed to be bombs, no?
They are
they all supposed
not.
to be guards?
These guys are supposed to be guards.
And this guy over here is going to be a guard, and as you can see,
You have to make him... Oh, this won't work anymore because...
Yeah, this guy is blocking the path, so we're going to have to find a way around him, or we're going to have to throw a bomb at him. Right? Like so. And whiff. So we're going to have to practice a little bit. Throw a bomb. Throw another. There we go. And that way you're able to...
Except you forgot to open the gate.
Well, it's fine, but that's how you do it, right?
Yeah.
And you go right through, and then you find yourself in the next area, doing whatever it is that you want to do. But we'll see about this area. No splash. Okay, so let's continue, because I think we'd already done a little bit of the enemy development, if I recall correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
We had made him... We had made his art.
Oh, okay.
We had made his animation.
Did we do anything else?
I don't think so.
Don't think so. We had made an animator, I believe.
Yeah, we made
With shield enemy. Okay, let's see if we have a prefab here. Oh, yes, we do. Enemy shield. And he's got an avatar and he's got shield enemy, so that's pretty good. We worked on these spikes and we just gave him a generic material for now. That's fine. Yeah, so this guy should animate, and the spikes, can all be retracted by, I think, reducing the Y scale. There it is. Ching, ching, like that, right?
Yeah.
And they'll push you back, or whatever. Okay, let's see. The enemy shield has an interactive, has an enemy script. It doesn't have an enemy bomb, so we need to create an enemy shield, right? So let's go to scripts. Finally, a bit of code. It's been a while.
Yeah.
Characters, enemy, and call it enemy shield. And enemy shield needs to go on the enemy shield.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Is it like this, or how did we do it before? Let's see. Enemy bomb. Enemy bomb is down, actually, so let's obey that particular logic. Changes nothing, but it's just for our mental order. Okie doke. Alright, let's see the situation here. Now, what I want to do, actually, because we haven't done an enemy in a very long time, is I want to take a look at our enemy bomb, because it's going to give us a lot of information. There we go.
It's all the explosion stuff. These guys don't explode.
Yep, that's true, but we can at least see what the situation is. So set up enemy, so it receives an enemy, which is itself really, but anyway. MR, so it's got a mesh renderer, structure, model. Why would you want an MR? MR explosion circle, I think it's it's assigned beforehand. Start explosion circle, we don't need that, we don't need this, and explode. So we don't need basically any of this, but it's still useful to have this coroutine structure and everything.
We'll check the enemy for...
Let's think for a second. So the coroutines that are specific to the shield that we are going to need is that the shield pulls out the spikes and then retracts them. So that's absolutely necessary.
Mm-hmm.
Another one is for the shield guy to be kicked in the butt and something happens to it. Mm-hmm. Either it dies if you have a weapon, or when you're kicking it, it just lets you go past, basically. Yeah. Which is going to have to trigger some kind of animation and pretty much not hurt you while that's the situation. So a coroutine for that as well.
Mm-hmm.
So we need at least 2 coroutines that I can think of. So let's rename this one to deploy spikes.
We're in the enemy bomb.
Ooh, never you mind. My bad. Okay. Well, I mean, at this point, let's just not. But we've got what? Explosion radius, passive pickup weight. Okay, none of these will apply, but we will have some rules, and we also will have some infrastructure. Okay, so for the infrastructure, what interests us the most is to go and get all of those spikes. We need to get their transforms.
Okay.
Let's see. Is there no? So there's a spikes object, and all of the individual spikes, are here. The only thing that interests us is the scale, but we still need to go find them. So I think with infrastructure we should have a spike container. So let's open a square bracket, serialize field, private transform. Yeah, and this one's gonna be a spike container. And mark it as default, because otherwise Unity cries.
Oh yeah.
Okay, now, so we're gonna have the spike container. For the rules, we need to know how quickly the spikes get deployed, that sort of stuff. So go with a serialized field. And you're gonna need again a private float. Go with an array. So we're gonna have one value for the spikes coming out. Spike travel duration. Something like that. Durations, by the way, plural. Equals default. Or you could just give it a value. Now go new. Just go with new. Space, tab, square, 2, close, open squiggle. And let's say when they come out, they need to be really quick. So I say 0.2. Float, madam, comma. And for them to go back, I say much longer. Let's get 2 seconds. Close the squiggle. Semicolon. Save. All right, so now we're gonna need 2 curves for the spike movement. Private, yeah, animation curve, array, call it curve spike travel. And this one is definitely default. Semicolon. Okay. Is there anything else?
We need a coroutine. 2 of them.
True. So we already have the duration of the coroutine. We already have the curves that control that. What we don't have though is the scales. We could actually assume it. We do have the spike container, but we don't have the array of spikes. So here you want a private transform array spikes. Mark it as default as well. Actually, no, you don't need to. You don't need to, it's private. Semicolon, that's all. Alright, now you're gonna need a public void setup. Just like in the bomb. Alright, oh, and we also need access to our animator. This is our first enemy that actually animates.
Yeah.
So in the infrastructure, you want to square bracket, serialized field, private. You need to actually go get it. Private animator controller, maybe it's called. No, try with animator, that's fine, and call it animator. Or just go, look, it gives you a suggestion, hit tab, semicolon. That's good. Alright, you press Control A, not Control S. Or maybe both, I don't know. So setup. Now for the enemy bomb, here I see we're requesting the enemy. So we have an ONA, which is interesting. I guess this is probably used to send take damage. and that sort of stuff. So perhaps it's a good idea for us to imitate this structure. So copy this, paste it here, copy this, paste it here, and copy this and paste it here. Save. Okay, so the order has been set up. The next thing that we need to do is set up the spikes. We have the spike container, so we can go and find every single one transform that is a child that is going to be a spike. Now we could use get components in children. The problem is it's going to grab our parent too. So we have a few ways to go about this. I think the cheapest way, the laziest way I can think of, is to change our array of transfers to a list. So okay. Convert this to a list. Yeah, and call it list underscore spikes. Sorry for the horrible clearing of the throat and the coughing. We're all a bit ill here. Okay, so save. Now the reason why we want a list is why? What's the difference between a list and an array? Explain it to our audience.
Well, I think an array, you can choose the value of it.
What do you mean by value?
Well, I meant how many are in it.
The amount? Okay.
Choose that for a list.
You can't choose that for a list?
No.
Well, you are kinda right, but you're explaining that all sorts backwards.
Oh.
So the difference between an array and a list is that the array, once assigned, cannot be changed in terms of its size. You can change its elements, you can modify them too, you can do all sorts of things, but you cannot change its size unless you rebuild it. Its length, right? Now, lists instead are variable. You can add as many objects as you want to a list, or remove as many objects as you want to a list.
Through list.add, right?
Or list.remove. There's various types actually. Remove at, for example, allows you to use an index to remove a certain thing, which is in fact what we're going to use right now for this particular trick of ours. Okay, but anyway, so here's how we're going to do this. List spikes equals new space tab. Now open around, and now we're gonna feed it the actual array, because you can feed an array to a list when you create the list, which means each array element will populate that list. So we're gonna say spike container dot get components in children of type transform. Open, close round, then close around again. Well, first you need to, yeah, exactly. No, forgot to close around. All right, so what's the problem now?
You said get components in children also has the parent.
That's right, it will collect the parent as well. Now, I'm actually not 100% certain of that. I'm almost certain of that. Now, in order to simply avoid this problem and not have to think about it too much,
use that remove at thing.
We're gonna use remove at, but first we're not gonna use remove at. We're gonna use remove, but first we're going to check if it contains it. So, and that's another cool thing that you can do with a list. You cannot do with an array. So you can say if open round, and you go list.spikes.contains list spikes whatever. No, it's not a dot.
Oh, that one.
Yeah. No.
Thought it was one down.
This is going well. Now you've lost IntelliSense. Just type li, hit tab. Dot contains open round, and here you feed it the actual parent. So spike container. Close, open squiggle, hit enter twice, close it. So now we know, well, inside this if, we know that we have found the spike container.
Okay.
So we're going to go and remove it. We're going to say list underscore spikes dot remove open round spike container.
Is it here?
Close
And kill
round,
it.
semicolon. That's right. If it's there, remove it from the list. Right? So now we have these spikes, all of them, that we can alter the size of however much we want to.
Okay.
Okay? So that's good. The coroutine. Private coroutine. Core underscore spike travel. Semicolon. Alright, now do the entire coroutine structure as you normally do. Make it, let me think, it should be public at the start. Everything else doesn't need to be public.
Oops. That's not what I meant.
It's okay.
Start. Spike travel.
Yeah, spike travel. And there we go. I recommend to copy all of this stuff.
Yeah, that would be good. And it's useful.
Mm-hmm. The second one doesn't need to be public. One more. There we go. And go stop. Yep. And now you need the actual I enumerator.
I won't copy this one.
Sounds good.
I had to change a lot, so it's not really worth it.
Spike travel. Routine. For the information of the audience, is always doing all the typing.
That's why I'm slow.
No, you're much faster than you used to be, so that's good. Practice improves people. Okay.
First, now I need to do these.
Okay. So yeah, let's begin with that. You should know what to do. So what are you doing here? Explain it to the audience.
So I'm checking right now. I'm checking if the coroutine spike travel is playing right now.
Okay. How do we do that? It's not entirely true, but how do we do that? What are you thinking?
I'm thinking, what went there again?
Well, so. What are you gonna do next? Just if you can't remember, just continue with the code, and it should come back to you. Let's see. Just continue.
Then
It's what?
oh yeah, now I remember. If it is there.
Yeah. If it has been assigned, that's what it means.
Yeah, then stop it.
Mm-hmm.
Except we're doing it in the wrong place. Oh,
No.
wait. No,
No,
we're not.
you're correct. Stop coroutine, which is the default Unity method, I think. Unity engine, probably, I don't know. Okay, so there we go. And then what do we do at the end? By the way, irrespective of whether the spike travel was or was not null, what do we do at the end?
We need to start the coroutine.
No, incorrect.
Oh yeah,
You wouldn't
that
start
happens
it
up
in
here.
stop. So you've asked if the core spike travel is not null, right? Then you stop the coroutine. Is the core spike travel still not null? You've stopped the coroutine, but is it still not null?
Is still not null.
It is
Because
the coroutine from before, even though it's stopped.
Yeah.
So
we
you
need
need
to
to?
delete it.
No, it's been stopped, so that's fine. What do you need to do now, though? It's really not strictly necessary, but...
I don't remember.
Look at the test. It's not about remembering. It's about using your head. So, your test is if the coroutine is not null.
Yeah.
You do a thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, in this particular situation, we have agreed that after you've done this thing, the coroutine is still not null. Well, the coroutine object is still not null, right?
Mm.
So next time I call stop spike travel, I'm gonna turn off a coroutine that isn't running anyway. So what would make sense to do after I've stopped the coroutine? So that this test returns false next time. The test will return true every time this coroutine spike travel is not null, right?
Yeah.
You want it to return false? What do you? What does
Maybe
it?
we can delete it.
What does that mean?
Like, remove it from the thing.
That helps a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah, I know.
Set it to null, banana.
Oh. Okay.
There. Copper. There it is. No. Yes. Done. Now it's null. Next time you test it again, that test is gonna be.
It's going to be null.
No, it's gonna be false. I mean the test.
False.
Yes, it's gonna
false.
be. But the test itself is gonna be false. Okay, so call stop. Exactly.
Here, and now we need to start it
Now you need
because
to
this
start
is
it.
start spike travel.
Yeah.
Mm.
And not just start it, but assign a new coroutine to this variable, which is just being cleared for use. So our stop spike travel method serves two purposes. Starting a new one every time, which overwrites the previous one. And also it can simply stop it whenever we need to.
I
Okay,
think this is good.
all correct. Now, spike travel routine. So let's see what we're gonna have to do here. Are we gonna need a passing time?
Yes,
Why?
because we have curves.
That's right. Good answer. You're gonna need to control time directly. So you're gonna need a float. Passing time, what value do you give it at the beginning?
It's 0.
Okay, now, what do you need next?
We need where it will start and where it will end because we're going to make a lerp.
Good call. Now, what's the only value we change?
I think you said it was the Y one.
The y-axis of what?
Of the spikes.
Correct. Of what component of the spikes?
Of the transform.
Correct. And on which part of the transform?
On the
Position, rotation, or scale?
not scale makes it small.
Yes,
Position.
scale. Yes, scale.
Oh yeah, scale on the y-axis.
Yeah, exactly.
thought
You're retracting them
not
back
scale.
and then all the way forward, right?
Yeah.
That's what you're doing.
Scale on the y-axis.
Scale on the y-axis, perfect. So, wait a moment. It's just on the y-axis.
Oops.
Make a float.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Float.
And call it S scale.
Scale.
Equals what? What's the starting value?
So we need to go.
No, it's a float. What's the starting value? What are you looking for?
We're trying. So it'll start detracted. So
So,
we need to.
how big is it when it's detracted?
It's 0.
Then
No.
it's 0. And then you need the float for the end. So float E scale.
E scale. Mistake.
It's what size?
I think 1 or 2.
It was 1. With extra weird comma. Or now a Q. It's a QUF.
There. Now it's fine.
Semicolon. Alright. Now what do we need?
So yeah.
So
We need we have that thing. We have the other thing.
you got every piece of the loop of the loop, right? You've got the starting
need
point,
a
the ending
while,
point, the control.
A while.
A while loop.
While passing time is lower than. Oops! I turned on caps lock. Time
Yep.
is higher than, I think.
Is. Okay. So it's lower than.
Oh, that's oops. Higher than 0. No, it was 1. Yes, it was 1.
So okay. We'll see where this logic goes. So as long as passing time is higher or equal to 1. How does passing time start?
It starts as 1.
It starts at 0 as far as I can see.
Oh yeah, it was 0.
So
So do we have to?
so it'll never enter this loop.
That we need to put a 0 instead.
Higher or equals to 0. Okay. So it enters the loop, right? And then what do you do each frame? You increase the passing time, right?
Yes.
Okay. What happens when the passing time is 10,000? Does the loop stop?
No.
Correct, it doesn't stop. So your spikes will do this forever? I'm confused.
How do we make it stop?
Well, that's my question, right? Think of a logical... think of the logic, right? How long do you want the spikes to do a certain thing for?
We have a duration. We can use
You
that.
have a duration, we can use that, but we'll worry about that later, right? Your passing time is effectively your lerp controller. What's its minimum value? What's its maximum value?
Its minimum value is 0.
And the maximum value is?
1.
Yes. So 0 and 100%. Awesome. Now, in your condition there, you're saying as long as passing time is higher than 0. Well, in that case, higher or equal rather. So in that case, every frame this is going to be true. You need to figure out a way for the frame to be true until what value?
True until 1.
Okay, so the first answer to our query here is this is going to be a 1. The problem is now we have the same thing that you had before. So this one says as long as the passing time is higher or equal to 1. It starts at 0, so it'll never enter this loop.
Yeah.
So
Maybe.
the condition is duffed.
And do we have to make it, then we have to change higher equals?
Well, maybe. Think about it. I'm giving you more hints than Noah, right? But I need you to think this through. What do you want it to do? You want it to do a certain thing until passing time is 1, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. In that case, then, what's the condition? Not as long as passing time is higher than 1, surely. That's stupid.
Then we'll have to do lower than 1.
Lower or equal.
Lower
It's always
equal.
good to be safe. Yes. So lower or equal to 1. Right? And now it'll do it until passing time reaches 1. Then what does it do?
And then it has to go back to
Whatever.
0.
It exits the loop. Right? Focus on the loop you're looking at right now. Then it exits the loop. So now your loop is working. It's doing a certain thing for a certain amount of time, and then or a certain amount of cycles, and then it stops.
Yeah.
This is what you want. All right.
Now
so,
we have to make the time tick.
so what's the first thing you want to do? Okay, you want to make the time tick.
So this and this. I think we use fixed delta time.
Yeah, it's slightly cheaper.
Fixed delta time, and
And what?
we need our duration. We divide by durations.
That's correct. Which duration?
Spike travel durations, first of all.
Yeah.
And number 1. I think.
Number 1. Why number 1? You're on the first part of the animation.
So then number 2 because it's distracted.
No, what are you talking about? How many elements does your spike travel duration
2.
have?
Only 2.
Then why are you using 2 as an index? What's the highest index in an array of 2 elements?
Oh, I forgot that it goes 0, 1.
It's a bit of a thing to forget.
Yeah.
So it's
There.
certainly not 1. It's going to be 0. It's the first part of the animation. Sure, but this is not a statement. This is not an assignment. This is nothing. What are you trying to do here?
I forgot a very, very, very important part.
Okay. Okay. That makes a lot more sense all of a sudden.
Yeah. Oops.
Hit the end key.
Do it now.
Okay. Then what do we do at the end? In a while loop
Oh
inside
yeah,
a
we
coroutine.
have a wait for seconds.
That's right. You need to make
So-
it wait. Otherwise,
You
you're going to crash with an infinite loop.
You return wait for seconds.
No, new wait. It's an object.
I forgot. New wait.
Which one of these?
So not wait for end frame. Wait for fixed update
Mm-hmm.
because we're using that.
That's
We
right. You're
used
waiting for one
delta.
fixed. You're using one fixed update duration, one length, which is 0.02, I believe, and then you are you're gonna wait for the same amount of time. That makes perfect sense.
Okay.
Open close rounds and you call.
Oops. Now we have to make the work.
And now you need to actually do the work. So
So
so here we said, well, first of all,
No.
you have more than one spike. What does this mean?
we need to use the spike array.
Yes, I do like the tautologies, yes. And how are you going to use the spike array?
By making a for loop.
Yep, that makes sense.
Mm.
No. Hit tab twice. Nobody's got time for that. Yeah, not now. FOR, tab.
Oh, that's what you meant.
Okay. Now what's here? That's what needs to change.
I'm gonna copy. It is easier. And right here, we need to grab our spikes.
Yeah.
And we need to grab the count.
The count, that's correct. So we're going from 0 to the count. So we're going to go through each and every one of the spikes. Now what do we do to each spike?
We need to make them go out.
Yeah.
So we need to do the lerp.
Yeah, go ahead.
So
Amuse us.
by failing.
Wait a moment. First you need to tell it who is going to have that assigned to. Whatever it is that you're doing, you need to do it to something. You can't just make a random statement in the air. What are you changing?
We're changing the spikes.
All right. Therefore,
So,
access the spikes.
List dot spikes.
No dot. That's how your stupid daddy says it. Even though there's an underscore.
List underscore spikes.
That's much better. You have caps lock on. Okay. Now, what do you? That's going to be difficult. It's a whole list you're accessing.
Dot count maybe.
No, that makes no sense.
Because we just did
why are
it.
you doing a loop?
So that we get one of them and
One of them. And how do you access one of them?
We need I.
Yeah.
Not index of. This.
Yeah, but certainly not a dot in front of it. Dot?
Dot lerp.
No, you can't. What are you lerping? You said you need to change what?
The spikes.
Yeah, that's fantastic. But which part of the spikes? Changing the color? Are you changing
scales.
potatoes? The scales.
Scales.
Awesome. Are you changing the scales? Which are part of what component?
They're part of the spikes.
Yes, but the spikes is not a component. So, what component do you have to use to modify something's scale?
Vector 3.
No, that's just the structure, basically the type of data you're modifying. No. What's the component? Literally every object in Unity has a component like that if it's in the scene.
Float.
What, the float is a data type. What are you on about? What component? You've even answered me this question before.
Oh.
Every single object in any scene in Unity has one of these. What is it? In fact, it has two components that are default. One is game object. Can you access the scale from the game object?
No.
Okay, the other one is?
Transform.
Hey, we got there. Magic.
That took ages.
It did take ages, yes.
Transform.
Yeah. Now, what are we changing?
The scale.
Awesome.
Is it local scale?
It's the only scale that exists, so yes.
And now we need to lerp it. So
You don't need to lerp it, you need to give it a value. So,
equals.
Now, you said what axis do you need to modify?
We need to modify the y-axis.
So, how do we do that? How do you modify only the y-axis?
We can't do vector 3.
Yes, we can.
Actually,
In
yes.
fact, it's the only thing we can do because local scale is a vector 3.
I think I can do this. Maybe I can. We'll see. So 0.
You can't do this, no, without saying new first. But there's a shortcut for this.
I forgot to do that.
Yeah, but that's not what you want. Because you only have two floats you're lerping. So that's also wrong. I've asked you a very specific question. What axis do you want to modify?
The y-axis.
Awesome. Is there a vector 3 that is the y-axis?
The vector 1.
1 would be all three.
That is definitely not vector 4.
What are you... What?
Oh.
Read.
Shorthand for writing vector 3, 0, 1, 0.
Is that the y-axis?
Yes.
Are you asleep when we do these things?
No.
Because I have no idea how many times we've done this by now, but it's been a while. Okay, now what are you gonna do to this guy? You have given it the value of y is 1 at the moment. That's no bueno. We need to do something more.
change the value of y
How do we do it?
by using a lerp.
Yes. How? Which operation do you have to do to this poor vector 3 up in order to do that to it?
Oh.
Just the fog in your brain is impressive. If you multiply a vector 3 by a float, what will happen to it?
It won't work. They're not compatible.
It will work. It will work. Well, I mean, Unity probably does some magic, but basically what happens is that each and every one of the axes gets multiplied by whatever you tell it to multiply it by. So suppose we take vector 3 dot up and we multiply it by 10. What vector do we get? The
We
3
get
coordinates.
10. 0, 10, 0.
Perfect.
Because
That's
0
right.
times 10 is 0 and 1
That's
times
right.
10 is
That's
10.
right. That's right.
Blah.
Yeah. Okay. That sounds good. So what you're trying to do now is you're trying to modify the size of these poor spikes on the y-axis, right? By the way, I just realized your dad is a fool. I've given you bad advice.
Oh.
Because like this, your x and your z are always going to be what value?
0.
This means you can't see those spikes. We don't modify the x and the z, that's true, but the x and the z
They're
remain
still there.
1. So we need to actually change this a little bit. So here you're going to type new
New.
space vector 3 open around. Now this one is 1. The next one is, and the next one is. You're wrong, but anyway, this is a good start. So close the round bracket. Yeah, sure. Extra commas. Keep adding value to a vector 3. What are you doing? There's only 3 values in a vector 3. That's why it's called vector 3. Anyway, so which one of these do you want to change?
The y.
So you said you wanted to lerp it, no?
Uh-huh. Lerp.
Yeah, well, lerp just doesn't exist on
Lerp
its
is-
own.
Yeah, we need something like... We can't do vector 3 dot lerp. So.
Correct. That will be retarded. So this one instead makes sense. You're
Okay.
only lerping between 2 floats, as the caption right there is suggesting. Every now and then we do episodes that are a little bit more educational for Zoe, so we go a bit slower.
Because I am slow.
Well, you know, you don't know. So.
Yeah. I know. I don't know
wait a
why I'm
moment.
copying everything.
Well, because you're lazy, which is a good thing. If you're programming, you're lazy. You're doing it right. Now, there's a thing you forgot. If you were to put passing time in there, you would get a linear interpolation, meaning it's a straight line. That's not what
We
we're
don't
looking
want a
for.
straight line, we want a curve.
Therefore, you need to access
curve.
those curves.
Spike travel.
Which one? You had 2 of them.
We need one.
No,
We need both.
no,
We need them to travel between both.
no. At the moment, you're only doing the initial part of the travel.
Then we need the first one.
Yes.
Not 90. There's no 90.
Okay. Now, close the lerp. No, never mind.
Evaluate.
Evaluate passing time.
Evaluate.
And you've deleted the Z, unfortunately. So you're gonna have to put it right back.
Passing time. And now we have this. Comma.
No, missing a bracket. Missing another bracket at the end. Okay, save.
Now this is really, really big.
It's unreadable, so let's just go here,
Sorry.
and hit here, And there we go. Now it's readable.
Yes.
Okay. No. All right. So this took long enough, but we eventually got there. Yes, this is what's going to happen. Now, the problem is you only finished one part of the travel. So you've done zoom, you've come out.
Yeah.
Now you need to go back. Now we could technically make a curve that goes both out and in. But we haven't thought of that. So we made two curves and two different...
Which means we need to copy this whole thing and do some changes.
Alright, you do you.
And change the S scale and E scale too.
I don't think you need to do that. Just invert them in there.
So I can take this again. Do I have to take the 4
need
too?
more than that.
This.
You're going to need the while loop as well.
I'm going to need all of this.
Yeah, but you forgot the bottom bits.
Oops.
It's not going to work without it. It's not going to work without the bottom brace.
That's true.
I know. I only rarely lie to you. Now, there's another problem here.
And when you do, you're joking.
Who knows? Maybe sometimes I lie without joking.
Okay, so now I need to go through what I need to change.
Well, no, not yet. There's a fundamental element you're missing. Look at the code. So when you start this coroutine, you assign 0 to the passing time, then something to start scale, something to end scale. Then you do a loop where you increment the passing time.
So the passing time is now incremented. We need to reset it back to 0?
Good.
Okay.
I like it when your brain thinks. It's
so
good.
that means I need to put here passing time equals 0f.
Perfect. And now you're correct. You need to start making some changes. So read the code meticulously, line by line, and see what needs to change.
While passing time is lower equals to 1f. No, that doesn't have to change.
Okay, next.
Passing time plus equals time dot fixed delta time. Oh, this has to change.
Okay.
To 1 because we're on the second part.
Okay.
4 and time equals 0 blah. That doesn't need to change. That doesn't need to change. But this has to change. So 1f is still the same. We need to reverse these two.
I don't know that that's faster than changing one letter, but okay.
Did it? So curve spike travel number 1. The value passing time 1f. Yes, this should be correct.
Okay. I accept this. I think this is bueno. Save.
Let's see if this is bueno.
Okay, no, wait a moment.
Oh, wait,
you can't see nothing yet. There's a lot that still needs to be done. Alright, so for now, all we've done is the little animation of the spikes coming out. That's it. We haven't told it when they start, how they start, etc. We haven't told it anything about the enemy behavior.
We haven't even put it in the map.
Yeah, that's also the case. So there's quite a lot we haven't done yet.
And it's also time to stop, so...
Well, we'll do a bit more, but yeah. Alright. Now... I'm gonna take over the thinking for a bit now, but you've done fairly well, especially towards the end.
Okay.
Alright, so let's see. Set up enemy. What are you gonna do, my dude? What are you gonna do? You're gonna do a bunch of stuff. Okay, so that's interesting. It's looking at structure model. Do we even have a structure model? We have a structure, but we don't have a model.
We have a...
That's a problem. This mesh renderer, what is it used for? Hit Control F. Current document. So here's the mesh renderer. It's never used. So this is just rubbish. Oh boy. It's a bit embarrassing. We shouldn't be leaving like loose ends that do nothing around. Anyway, so that one's gone. The AM is structure vision cone. Structure vision cone. There it is. Okay, so this matches. This one's gonna get found. Patrol angle. So this is pretty important because we don't really have a patrol. So if it's an enemy bomb, get component enemy bomb, set up this. So technically, if you copy all of this, then paste it right here, you should be able to change this enum
to the enemy shield.
It doesn't exist.
Because we need to make it. We had a design issue. Anyway. Enemy shield.
Save. Let's read the design issue real quick. Saving right now can cause permanent progress lock or alter progress design. Must make dependent on
We have to open it.
save points, Okami style. Will make them automatic. Fixed. This has been done. Okay, so enemy shields. Now you've got it.
Enemy shield. Shields.
Just hit
Shields.
tab, will ya?
Shield. There.
Thanks. Okay, so enemy shield. Now, obviously, enemy bomb is incorrect. It's enemy shield with a capital S. Shield. What's that? Save. Set up list. That's all going to be correct. AM setup. I'm fine with that. For the awareness module. In our case, the awareness module will work quite a bit differently, but that's okay. So awaken, ray, patrol ray forward, hit line, blah blah blah. Wanted distance, stop patrol. So that's pretty important because start patrol doesn't really work for enemies that don't have a patrol routine. So that's an issue. Yeah, I think so. AM awaken is fine. Actual distance, wanted distance, blah blah blah. All of these are dependent on the patrol. So cut this stuff, put it here. I'm a bit worried about AM awaken. It may need the previous parts, but I don't see how. So I think we'll be all right. Save. Now all of this stuff is patrol dependent. So we would need enemies that have a patrol. So to do that, what we're gonna do is we're gonna do another switch like these. So copy this entire switch, paste it right here. Now cut all of this and put it in here. For this, nothing at the moment. Save. So we start the patrol with the bombs, but nothing else. They also have an aggression routine, bloody blah. None of this kind of works for us.
They don't have an aggression routine. They just boing, spikes out, spikes in.
Pretty much. Yeah. There's another thing actually I just realized, which is I don't know if our collider makes a whole lot of sense.
We need to make an our guy getting hurt animation too.
Well, I don't know if it's actually strictly necessary.
Maybe by the spikes, because when the spikes got you, the guy would bounce backward and fall in his butt or something.
So let's do something with our shield first. Let's take the model of the shield, add a component, and the component is going to be a box collider. That's perfect. That's going to occupy, so you can't pass. That's exactly what we want. So let's see here, the enemy structure, blah blah blah, avatar, structure, play. Okay, so obviously this one's wrong. It needs to be an enemy. No, this object only. Yeah, I think this is safe. This guy has a rigid body. Yes, it does. So there's a problem here. You see the capsule collider here?
Yeah.
It also has a rigid body. This means that the spikes, or rather the model of the spikes, or the shield, whom we gave this collider to, is also going to drill down all the way to this rigid body, which effectively means these two things will be controlled at the same time. That's not good. We need the shield itself to have a rigid body, but the problem is even if it does, then we're not going to detect it. But that's fine, because all the shield needs to do is stop us. In fact, what we're going to do is we're going to say that the spikes model is of type map obstacle. So it literally will act like a wall. You can't pass it, which is precisely what we want.
Yeah.
Right? So, and the vision cone, which is what matters to us, which as you can see goes past it. If you approach the vision cone, boom, it'll hit you.
It'll be enemy awareness.
Right. But
it was player awareness, so.
Yeah, there's a bunch of things we need to do. Enemy awareness. Yes, train children. At least I think so. Yeah, that's probably fine. Target, I don't think that even exists, but anyway, these are all defaults and that's fine. This one is a map obstacle, that's fine. And this is good. Right, so the next then is just the spikes hurting us, but that's purely visual, right? Them coming out, so that's not a problem.
Yeah.
Okay, so everything's been corrected a bit. So for the enemy shield, nothing really happens. The only thing that happens is we need to start the animator, and that's happening through the setup. I mean, this type of enemy it has a few states. State number 1 is it getting killed, well, it being idle and waiting. State number 2 is it spikes you, but nothing meaningfully changes there in terms of animation or anything, just the coroutine plays,
Okay.
right? And stage number 3 is it gets killed, and stage number 4 is it gets kicked in the butt.
And stunned.
And stunned for a brief moment, and you can just sort of,
So that you can walk through.
walk through or whatever. So, in essence, I don't really think that this enemy does anything here. Let's just take a look at what the patrol routine is doing. So, rotating is false. Well, that's always the case for us. We can't rotate.
An enemy,
I mean, we may reutilize that particular boolean as a stuff, whatever. Anyway, passive and aggressive doesn't really matter for this particular enemy. Never goes aggro unless you enter its vision cone. Then it pulls out its spikes and pushes you away. Which we may need some kind of aggression boolean, but we'll worry about that later. Yeah, I think we're basically done there, sorta, kinda. So let's see the enemy bomb here. I think the awareness module. So let's go take a look at the awareness module here, because I'm sure that it's going to tell the enemy something. Control-M-O. So let's see. Add entity to site. That's good. On trigger stay. That's what we're looking at. So if the case interactivity is play, and then we're looking at this is if the player is doing a thing. If instead it's the enemy bomb, then it does a certain thing. If instead, so case space tab
Oops.
dot enemy shield colon enter break. Yeah, save. Alright. So if we're enemy shield, detect player. I think we're gonna call that. So copy this, paste it here, save. Now you can see if it says if enemy owner is not aggressive. Passive, okay. So let's do this. Copy this, paste it, close the round. Copy it again, paste it, close the round, open a squiggle. Cut, paste, save. So if the enemy is not aggressive, then detect the player. Now let's see what enemy is gonna do when it's not aggressive. The only thing that I think we may want to do is tell it that it's not aggressive.
Okay.
But that's already there by default. The thing is, this enemy can go into aggressive and exit aggressive whenever it wants. So that's a bit interesting. Anyway, where's detect enemy? There it is. Detect player. If not aggressive, which is the case, direction, blah blah blah. So here it's doing a bunch of tests. Start aggression. Now this depends on the type of enemy, right? And this is kind of a redundant test, but anyway. Here you're gonna do switch, type SW, hit tab again. And the switch for on is going to be this one, copy. Paste it here. Alright, so enemy shield.
That has to stay.
And enemy bomb. Save. So all of this, cut it and put it here. Save. And for though this is interesting because this one is checking that it doesn't hit the wall first. The problem is because the shield itself is a map obstacle, this will trigger as true, so it'll never see you. Yeah, I think we shouldn't worry about this.
Okay.
We should just go with start aggression right away. So copy, paste it here, save. So let's see start aggression, what it'll do. Stop patrol, stop aggression, start aggression, coroutine, blah blah. Perfect. So this is all perfect. Case, current local SFX not null. Audio source clip, blah blah blah. So this is for sound. This one's fine. While passing time, rotation, look rotation. This one is just it looking at you, which I think is not fine because it's going to make the character rotate annoyingly, and it's not what we want. So quite a lot is happening. As you can see, we're using the switch, but we did make a couple of assumptions. Passing time, wait, this is the look rotation. Audio source stop. Okay, so there's a bunch that's going on here that's essentially specific to the bomb. So here's what we're gonna do. So we've tried to be clever here. Before to construct something that's, you know, quite adaptable, but I don't think we can really use this that intelligently with this degree of simplicity, right? So that you can still have some degree of understanding what's actually happening. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna remove this, and put this back like so. So this is gonna be our bomb code for everything bomb. Right, we're gonna be less clever, we're gonna be simple. And we're gonna then cut all of this and put it in the bomb. And now your bomb's gonna work exactly the same as before. So that's fine. For now, for the enemy shield, what we need to do is we need to play that animation, and there's probably going to be the animator doing something as well. Well, I mean, at the moment it isn't, but that's okay. So here you can go to, wait a moment, get component enemy shield. Remember that? That's what we need to do. Right here, and tell it start spike travel. That's what we need to do.
Yeah.
And this is also going to damage the player. So game script player
take damage.
Take damage. And int damage
1.
Yeah, not too happy about this, but that's okay.
It's just supposed to bounce you back, so.
I know, but the what I mean to say is the fact that it's a hard-coded value is not brilliant. Okay, now there's another issue as well, which is we need to become aggressive. So aggression routine, right? We should say is aggro or whatever it is. Aggressive is true, right? And so that means that then the spikes are not going to work anymore.
Okay.
Now, when do they start working again? After a certain amount of time. Now, this is a coroutine. So after a certain amount of time, we're going to become aggressive again. I say literally give it whatever, a certain amount of time, whatever it is. So let's give it a rule that we're going to store here.
Okay.
Serialized field, private, float, post-aggression wait time. 3 S's.
Aggression.
Which is going to be, say, 5 seconds. Okay? And here we're going to... So this is going to be very simple, actually. Yield, return, new, wait for seconds, post-aggression wait time, and then aggressive. Whoops. And then aggressive is... oh gosh, darn it. You are annoying. Is false. That's it. That's all that happens. So spikes come out, hurt the player. We wait a certain amount of time. Spikes will have retracted by then, and we're ready to attack again.
Okay.
In this case, 5 seconds. So the player has time to sort of leave. Because in the end of the day, the shield doesn't really change. It still acts as a physical barrier that you can't pass.
Mm.
So that seems to me like it would probably work all right.
Okay.
I think. And yeah, it'd be good to test this. So let's try and see if we can figure out how to actually add the enemy. So let's go take a look at our map because at our sprites, because I absolutely cannot remember textures rather. GIMP map. I absolutely cannot remember how we set bombs. I know it's a red color, but I don't remember what shade of red. Okay, so, well, I need to see the ground. Okay, so here's the bombs. These here are the bombs. And they are red. But then they have a certain coloring. And the red tone...
It's for rotation.
Is for rotation. We're going to use green, I think, for the type of enemy, I guess. But I'm not sure. And plus, wait a moment. No. Because that red indicates it's going to be a enemy spawner. Right?
Yeah.
And we are not going to have an enemy spawner in this case. We're going to have the enemy itself. But that means it's an interactive entity in the world. Right? See, red, bomb spawn point. Right? So... I suppose we just literally need to have an enemy. Like that, right? So, orange, we've already done it. The vase here, that's not the vase. That's our enemy.
Yeah.
Right, so we're gonna go to enemies and go enemy shield. Like that. And vases transform, so it's going to end up in vases. Nope, it's gonna end up in enemy shields, like that. Okay. Random rotation. Not really true. The rotation needs to depend on things. So let's see what element 4 was. It was spikes. So the spikes have a 0 rotation. That's interesting. I think it's controlled by something else, so I wouldn't worry. And we are done. I think that's it. So now we can use this color, whatever it happens to be. Let's switch it to RGB 255 here. So we need 127, 255, 127 on green and 255 on red. Okay, so we're gonna go here and just pick it here, and I'm lazy. And 255 and 127. That's the color.
Yeah, that's
so
our
we're
orange.
gonna hit OK. And we're gonna go back to here, and now inside entities, right here, this guy.
Yeah.
All right. Now, the red color for in the entity information is going to decide which angle the guy is facing.
Okay.
Right. Now, I think we should only give him perpendicular angles.
Perpendicular means like
90 degrees.
Yeah.
I don't see any. Well, I don't know why I said perpendicular. I meant to say right. But anyway, because I don't see how it could be useful to have this particular enemy be any different.
Yeah.
So he would, face a certain direction, stay there, always stay there. And why would we want to have more than 4 directions? Can you see a situation in which you would want to have a diagonal direction?
No, not that much. They're supposed to block doorways, which means they need to be facing you.
Okay. Well, yeah, in that case, let's use the red thing. Now, I absolutely cannot remember, but I think it was it was 90 degrees times, and then the certain value that we give it. Right? So, and it's going to be a usual sort of span. So it's going to be between 0 and 64. It's 0 between, or 63, between 64 and 127, it's going to be 1. Between 128 and 195 is going to be 2. It's 2 times 90, so 180 degrees. So in this particular case, that's where we want to be, right?
Okay.
So we would be at, pick a red color, and then we said what value?
You said 253.
To have him rotated by, I definitely didn't say 253. That's the one I couldn't have said. Wait a moment though. Well, it depends on where it's facing as a starting point. Well, blimey, I'm gonna leave it alone. We're gonna, maybe this is south or north. I don't know where we're starting, so that changes everything.
Okay.
Okay, so we got this now, and what we can do is just the only thing we've changed is the entities. So let's export the entities. Okay, so that's good. And so that's one thing. What happens though in the map when we set up the map entity? Because that's pretty important. I don't know if our enemy shield has a map entity. In fact, I don't think it does. It has an interactive entity.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a bit of a problem. We've never had a situation in which the enemy is both a map entity and an interactive entity at the same time.
Okay. Now we need to add a map entity.
Well, let's hope this doesn't cause any crazy stuff. Let's just say that our code structure isn't particularly intelligent.
Move up, move up, move up, move up.
Yes. So this is a map entity, and in the map entity, when you set up, there it is, an enemy spawner, blah blah blah, etc. Well, that's pretty good. Now all we need to do is just go and get enemy.
Yep.
Right. So enemy E equals get component enemy, and then if E is not null.
Don't we already have this for the bomb?
Either possibly, but it's a completely different system. Set up enemy, and it needs a vector 3 position and a float angle. So the angle is going to be interesting. See the angle here? It's going to actually be controlled by the enemy. We've already done this before. Angle. Patrol angle is the angle. That's good enough. We can use the patrol angle to then do the rotation ourselves. Not a problem. Probably inside setup would be my bet, because this one isn't really rotating, right? Or perhaps when we... yeah, no, I think setup is fine. We'll see anyway. Not a big deal. Back to the map entity. So setup entity. And this one we said it needs a position. Needs a position, which would be transform.position. Nothing changes here.
Yeah,
and the angle is the color. So C.R would be where we fit it. And then we're gonna make decisions when you're on the other side. I think for the patrol angle. But here in the enemy, now we have a patrol angle. Let's feed it to here. And then inside setup, float angle percent, because you're receiving a percentage. And here, you're gonna type now, we're gonna change the transform to face that direction. So you're gonna say transform dot rotation equals quaternion dot Euler. Now, which axis are we rotating on?
Maybe. I think that's the X. Rotating around, right?
You're rotating around like this.
It's not the Y.
Of course it is the Y. You're rotating around the axis that points up.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. So
Sorry.
this time is going to be vector 3 dot up multiplied by 90 f.
So that we can only get 90 degree.
Yeah. And let me think. Multiplied by angle percent
Angle percent.
divided by 0.25 f. Now let's think this through mathematically, semicolon, right? So the angle percent can be between 0 and 1. Let's take 0. 0 divided by 25, 0.25. Oh no, that's not going to work. We need mathf dot clamp. So let me think this through, because there's a bunch of stuff you need to do here. So if you divide that by 0.25, my goal is to get ints. That's the first thing. The problem, is there a problem at all? Suppose you get 0. 0 divided by 0.25 is 0. But what if you get 0.1, for example? 0.1 divided by 0.25, that's 0.4. So this one actually starts going up. Which is fine, and if you floor it, it's still gonna be 0. 0.25 divided by 0.25, that makes 1. 0.27 divided by 0.25, that makes 1 and a bit. So floor would be fine. Mathf dot floor math f. You know what floor is?
Floor makes it go down to 0, I think.
Yeah, returns the largest integer smaller or equal to f, but it's still a float. So we're just going to do floor and this. And there you go. This one should lead us to have 0, 1, 2, or 3, right? Let's see if this is true. Actually, no, I don't think it's true, because 1 divided by 25 is 4. 0.99 divided by 0.25 is 3. Remember, we're flooring, right?
Yeah.
The problem is we're flooring to 4, so we also need to mathf clamp this thing between 0 and 3. We can't go over 3.
Yeah.
And that should do. That should do it. So, and that's based on the red color. So when we get no red color, it's gonna not rotate at all. All right. So let's see how this works. If it works though.
Yeah.
Kind of curious.
Dun.
Crash. No. Nothing broken. Nothing borked for now.
Move it, player.
But
Except he's not there.
Alright, let's find out why. Enemy shields did not spawn.
Did we assign the curves?
I'm fairly sure I've exported it.
Wait, I think you might have done the changes on world.
What?
In GIMP, you might have done the changes on world.
Don't think so. So map tile, map entity, one in the world. Where's map? I had map before. It's gone. Map entities getting this set up. That's fine. Oh, we may not have something in the map when we're dealing with those. So let's see. Setup, spike, blah, blah, blah. Setup map, blah, blah, blah. Setup entities. Let's see. Blah, blah, blah. Finds the type of entity. Sets up the entity with a color index and then ME. Let's see if map entity debug log hello. This is pretty complicated by now, right? So I don't really know where it is that it goes wrong. and we're getting no error, so nothing's really going wrong. Okay, we didn't get a hello. So that's already not happening, right? We're never getting here.
We're in map entity.
So map entity, setup entity, that's, I believe, is the one, isn't it? Yes. No, never mind. This one says setup entity. That's a map tiles setup entity. Okay. Map entity ME. Instantiate. Transfer name ME. Map tiles. Setup entity. So we got map tile here. The problem is this map tile is completely normal. And it doesn't have an entity tile at all. We assumed that there would be a tile where an enemy can spawn. That's the problem. And what we have now is that when the map tile is setting up the entity, nothing's really happening. This is not good. This forces us to change how this works. Forces.
Maybe before we would change it, we can check if you did it in the world or not.
But that's stupid. I already know it's not working. I can see it right now. Okay? The problem is the entity is being instantiated, and that's just fine. Thanks for the resub, Rob. So what was I saying? The problem is we're instantiating the map entity, and that's all fine. The map entity is being set up, it's being rotated. By the way, I've just noticed this interesting thing. The rotation is being set up here on the outside. It doesn't matter though, it gets overridden later. But the problem is it expects to have a tile that's deliberately, specifically designed to have this enemy spawner on it. That's the issue.
Okay.
And we don't really have that at the moment. There's no enemy spawner for this because we thought we are going to be spawning the enemy directly. That's not good. So we would need to have a specific spawner for this particular enemy, just like we have the flowers for the bombs. Same thing. And then that particular spawner will take care of it. And I think that's it. That's what we're going to go with.
Okay.
Yeah. So next time we're going to have to do that. Bomb spawn point, there it is. Spike switch. Yeah. And so entity tile presently has 6 of them. 6 of them in the wild. There are 8. What the heck? So what's 6? It's a vase. How do we set up the vase? Spike switch. Yeah, there it is. So we forgot the vase completely, which is interesting. So let's do that. And we also need a we also need an enemy spike shield. The problem is that the shield is not really going to be working this way. I mean, we could make it work this way, but the only way to do it would be to do a switch here, which I'm a bit defensive about. But yeah, let's do it for now. So switch, and it would be, what are we looking at here? Entity tile. I don't even know. Transfer name contains color index dot name. Yeah, and I think the color index is what we're looking for. So it's gonna be entity tile color index. And if it's enemy shield, then do that. If it's not, then do this. If it's enemy shield, then it would be Wait. Wait. Huh. There's the entity texture. Your dad is a potato.
Oh.
We don't need this here. That's here. Yeah, no, I was looking at the right thing. So cut this. We still have the color index right there. And in default, it's setup entity. That's fine. But in this particular case here, it's just gonna be ME setup. And it needs a color.
World chords and quadrant chords.
Needs a color, which is gonna be C, but it's too complicated because this guy takes care of it after, I believe. I'm not certain, but I think so. Yeah, send info to entity. That's the key one. Who calls this? This is a little complex now.
Yep.
There it is. Send info to entity. So it goes through all of the tiles and then sends info to entity colors index. There's the index. At that point, let's try to do this. Send info to entity. The problem is there's no entity on it. Yeah, I think that the easiest solution for us is to stop trying to hack this and to actually create a spawner for these things. Not that it keeps respawning them, but it's just going to do it once, but it's going to be dedicated to doing that, just like the bomb spawner does that too. Okay. So the enemy spawner, there's the spawn routine. It does whatever it needs to do, and I think that this one just keeps on spawning the enemy forever. We are going to make it so that we're gonna have a way to decide how the spawners are going to function next time.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, well, this one well long, so we're gonna stop for tonight. Thanks very much for watching. We'll see you again next time. Bye.
Bye.